That was a very lovely video mesh, very good. Since we got to talk about one of your obsessions, I get to talk about one of my obsessions. We're gonna talk about the big obsession, like the granddaddy to end all obsessions. Oscar Wilde. And I even found a way to tie it into everything too with these crackers. In The Importance of Being Earnest, food and the consumption of food is used as a euphemism for sexual appetite. That being said, I'm going to eat these crackers. I don't actually have saltine crackers, I don't know why, but instead we have these stone wheat crackers, which are like saltines, only bigger and more gross. A bowl. Ah.
It tasted like pizza, just like it should. It should.
Oh, no.
It was nom 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 sandwiches.
Breakfast. With Oscar Wilde, we could talk about the whole thing with like that scandal with Lord Alfred Bosie Douglas, but everybody talks about that, so we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about everything else. Well, generally referred to as an English author, Wilde was actually born in 1854 in Dublin, Ireland. His parents were an extreme women's rights activist and an ear, nose, and throat doctor, and that's important. Keep that in mind. He was a self-proclaimed professor of aesthetics and, with the help of novelist and critic Walter Pater, founded the Art for Art's Sake movement, which meant that art, its fundamental cause was to be pretty, not for like religious sake or for any sort of like reason or like any connotations other than being beautiful. Which is also the premise of Art Nouveau, which I love. While being a very influential English author, he didn't actually write that much. He only wrote 2 collections of children's stories, 1 novel, and a couple plays. And a lot of poetry. Just to give you a better idea, this is Oscar Wilde's complete life's work. This is a small sample of Arthur Conan Doyle's work. This isn't even a third of P.G. Wodehouse's work. So Oscar Wilde's first and only novel, The Picture of Dorian Gray, first appeared in an American magazine as a novella. And because of its implied homoerotic undertones, it was a cause of moral outrage throughout the land. Lord Henry looked at him. Yes, he was certainly wonderfully handsome, with his finely curved scarlet lips, his frank blue eyes, his crisp golden hair. I wonder why. So people were pissed off about this novella and people refused to read it. So you know what he did? He expanded the novella and basically a year later published it as a feature-length novel. Come thither, bro! And after that novel, he went on to write a bunch of successful plays like Lady Windermere's Fan, A Woman of No Importance, An Ideal Husband, and The Importance of Being Earnest, a trivial comedy for serious people. The only one I haven't read all the way through is An Ideal Husband, which I'm reading right now, and they're all great. Shortly after the success of The Importance of Being Earnest, that whole scandal thing happened, and then he served 2 years hard labor in prison, and then he exiled himself to Paris, and he died penniless and alone and sad. Where the dad thing comes in handy. Oscar Wilde died of an inner ear infection, the same sort that his dad used to treat. Irony. And now for trivia. In 1876, he had romantic affiliations with Florence Balcom, who went on later to marry Bram Stoker, the author of Dracula. When going to America to do a tour of lectures, he was asked if he had anything to declare before he departed, to which he replied, "Nothing but my genius." Oscar Wilde is famously misquoted as his famous last words being, "Either this wallpaper goes or I do." But actually, he said something more to this effect. "My wallpaper and I are fighting a battle to the death. One of us must go." And he said this about 2 weeks before he died. In that time, he also ordered a very expensive champagne from the lobby at his hotel. When he went down to go get it, he was quoted to say, "I am dying beyond my means." And then he went upstairs and drank it all by himself. His actual last words, he tried to quote the Bible, but he died before he finished the verse. Very sad. We're all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars. If you're going to tell the truth, make them laugh. Otherwise, they'll kill you. So, MASH, for your video next week, I want you to paint me a picture. I look forward to it, and I'll see you next week. His come kiss me softly cheeks, his hum me savagely nipples, which are kept scrupulously clean at all times, his perfectly sculpted buttocks, which are perfect and round, and the exact size and volume as one may hold them comfortably within the base of their palm. Oh yes.